Uh-oh.
4335 is a Virgin class multisensory cognito hazard.
I low-key thought that, well, it is Virgin, but it's a different meaning. I'll just stop.
Later, in the void.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And in today's episode, we have another SCP that is from another game. So this SCP, it seems pretty cool. By surface level, the title alone seems like it'll be a really strong SCP. So without any further ado, this is SCP-4335, Minecraft World Destroyer. So let's see if it's some kind of Omega creeper, like we shall see, but I'm sure it's gonna be crazy to say the least. So with that being said, if you guys are excited for these reactions, you guys are excited to tune in, remember to smash that like button, also smash the sub button, join the family, and hit that bell so you can stay plugged with each and every upload. I'm telling you guys, I make content, SCP content daily for you guys, so you'll never be bored on this channel and you won't be making the wrong decision. Smash that button, have fun with the family. All gas no breaks, and we'll love to have you. And also remember, special shout out to SCP Explain Stories and Animation for bringing fire animation to dive deep. And so, without any further ado, let's get this show started. Alrighty, Minecraft World Destroyer, SCP-4335. Let's go.
Mobile Task Force Edna-84, also known by the codename and thus upon his Crucible, is on one of the strangest missions they've ever been sent on. They sit in a darkened room, beads of sweat trickling down their brows. The lights of computer monitors shine upon their faces. They're tackling a monster that, if it escapes, will literally devour all of creation.
So it's pretty much like the Among Us. The SCP is probably trapped within its game, so it probably won't be that dangerous. It's only dangerous in its own universe, but I'm sure it won't come out, so.
It has no fear. It has no remorse. And if it isn't kept contained by Edna-84, it may escape and wreak havoc across the world. Oh, and did we mention it's trapped in a Minecraft server? You heard us right. SCP-4335 is a cognito-hazardous extra-dimensional being of pure terror.
Another cognito hazard. Woo, those are not common. Okay. And it's trapped within the game. So that doesn't really say that it's from the game itself. It could just be another entity trapped somehow, somewhere in a Minecraft server, which is kind of weird, but this is more interesting.
Trapped inside a procedurally generated world in the immensely popular game Minecraft. You hear about a lot of horrifying monsters being described as Lovecraftian, but only this monster is Minecraftian. There's a lot that needs explaining here, and we intend to get to all of it. But let's start with how the Foundation keeps this truly exceptional beast contained. The Foundation first discovered SCP-4335 back in 2010, shortly after the alpha version of Minecraft was released. Because of the online nature of the game, it's proven to be impossible to contain 4335 externally, seeing as it isn't confined to any one physical location. Shutting off the server 4335 is found in is not an effective containment method either, as this just causes the entity to simply hop to a different server.
Can't you just disconnect all the servers? Wouldn't that work? I don't know.
Foundation's greatest fear is that 4335 will one day make the leap out of Minecraft and cause chaos in our world. That's why it's imperative to draft containment procedures for SCP-4335 within the game. This led to the creation of a containment site unlike any other. Site M1, the first official Foundation site made entirely out of Minecraft blocks. Since then, elite SCP Foundation containment specialists and gamers have been constructing the perfect prison for SCP-4335. Site M1 is a large stone complex built into the side of a mountain. It has a number of key features, including a supply area filled with materials vital for 4335's continued containment. Chests filled with books that contain SCP-4335's containment procedures.
Wait, so is it contained, though, within the server? It's not really talking about that. If it is contained within the server, and then you close that server, would it be able to hop to another server since it was already contained within that server? It's not free to hop around it, unless it is. That would be kind of crazy. But if it is not able to hop around, you could just capture him and then close the server off, and then problem solved on paper. But who knows?
A few animal farms for the purpose of breeding and killing livestock for their meat. The entrance to a mine. several chests containing 4335's containment procedures, a few animal farms for the purpose of breeding and killing livestock for their meat, the entrance to a mine, several chests containing books specifically designed for civilians to learn about 4335, if they ever breach containment and enter the server, and of course, the actual containment chamber for SCP-4335 itself, which is a little more complicated. 4335's containment chamber is built out of several layers, all made from iron blocks. The outermost cube is 75 by 75 by 75 blocks. The inner cube is 55 by 55 by 55 blocks, and the innermost cube is 25 by 25 by 25 blocks, creating several levels of defense.
Got it.
Finally, one layer within all these others, which contains the anomaly proper, is made from obsidian blocks.
Ooh.
SCP-4335 is bound into the center of the containment chamber with a complex mechanism. The outermost cube is completely filled with water, and several dispensers capable of rapidly dispensing large amounts of items in a short amount of time line the cube.
How did
The
you trap
cube
him,
also
though?
contains several mob farms, which are devices that constantly spawn
this on
enemies
fire.
into the chamber that drop loot when they die.
Wow.
The chamber is essentially designed to funnel a constant flow of items inwards to SCP-4335.
For what, though?
There are even contingency measures for if SCP-4335 manages to breach containment. If escape is attempted, blocks of TNT detonate above the ceiling, causing lava to pour into the chamber.
This is literally hilarious. They built a SCP Foundation site within a Minecraft server. And it's just so funny. If they breach, they're doing so much for this SCP. I just want to see it breach and come to like our server. I shouldn't say server, our reality, and see what will happen.
At that point, MTF Edna 84 are dispatched into the server to lure 4335 back into its containment chamber. To do this, they fire a mix of fire-resistant potions and ender pearls, which have teleportation capabilities. Interestingly, there's one more basic method of luring SCP-4335 back into the obsidian cube: taunting and insulting. One of SCP-4335's many anomalous abilities is being able to hear people through the screen, and being a proud creature. It often responds to insults by charging in to directly engage the insulter.
What
If
the heck?
SCP-4335 still manages to breach the containment that has been set up for it, then they even expect that it will likely soon hop into another server.
Oh no.
At that point, the goal will shift to finding the monster and recontaining it.
But it doesn't really talk about it coming out of the server and into our reality. Like, it just seems like it's just hopping through server to server. So it wouldn't be that dangerous unless, like, you play Minecraft and then, you're talking shit to it. At the end of the day, it's not really that dangerous. I wish they could see, like, the way it can hop out of the game itself. That would be kind of cool. But we're only a little bit into it, so we might.
With containment procedures this complex and extensive, it shouldn't come as a surprise that SCP-4335 rests firmly in the Keter Class. What exactly is this anomalous
Cognito
entity?
hazard.
Why does its containment hinge on constantly providing it with items?
Yes.
And how did it end up in Mojang's popular building and survival game in the first place? SCP-4335, in terms of physical dimensions, appears almost identical to the player character, with an all-black skin.
Okay.
It also appears to be constantly shrouded in a cloud of smoke particles.
It looks cool.
And has long black tendrils protruding from its back. In some respects, 4335 has been compared to two popular creepypasta figures, Herobrine
Slenderman?
and the Slenderman. But 4335 is far stranger. Its physical body behaves similarly to most assets native to the game, with a few peculiar, anomalous abilities we'll discuss soon.
Let's see.
Handling
Come on.
SCP-4335 is an extremely delicate process. If command blocks, creative mode, or server commands are ever enabled in a server with SCP-4335, the server will instantly shut down.
Wow.
And SCP-4335 will move to a different server.
Dang.
SCP-4335 also uses its tendrils to destroy surrounding blocks before consuming them. With each successful consumption, SCP-4335 grows, and when it reaches sufficient size, it hops to a different server.
Oh, wow.
As you can see.
Does it reset in size, though, when it hops into a different server? Because that would make sense. If it's too big for that server, it goes into another one, it will just reset. And it's like a never-ending cycle. That would be kind of interesting. And I hope they really touch upon if they actually have it contained and then you shut off the server, is it still able to hop? Or like even breach containment since the server's cut off?
Keeping SCP-4335 contained is an uphill battle, but luckily there are two factors on the Foundation's side here. The first is that SCP-4335 is immobilized while consuming items and blocks, limiting its ability to actively escape Foundation forces. The second factor is that SCP-4335 needs a rest period between consuming blocks in order to grow, meaning if its consumption is constant and continuous, it isn't able to grow. These two factors have informed the entirety of the Foundation's containment process. The second factor is that SCP-4335 needs a rest period between consuming blocks in order to grow, meaning if its consumption is constant and continuous, it isn't able to grow.
Got
These two factors...
So he just needs time to digest, what he's consuming. Okay.
...have informed the entirety of the Foundation's containment procedures around SCP-4335. It's locked into its chamber and fed items and blocks constantly, effectively rooting it in place.
Nice.
When SCP-4335 begins to grow,
you can never sleep.
The Foundation also found that the application of Ender Pearls helps reduce it back to its normal size.
Oh, so that's probably the same thing when he jumps to different servers. It goes back to his normal size. I'm just assuming, just logically speaking. But wow, that makes sense now, and that's why they're feeding him. Okay, cool. And they probably caught him when he was sleeping. That would make sense, because I'm assuming he needs to sleep for a certain amount of time for him to actually grow. So he probably wouldn't want to be disturbed or can't wake up in that period of time when he's sleeping. So, it's coming to place now.
However, SCP-4335 does have a method of striking back against its captors. 4335 is a Virgin class multisensory cognito hazard.
I low-key thought that, well, it is a Virgin, but it's a different meaning. I'll just stop. Just keep it going.
Anyone viewing it without proper training and protection may experience distressing hallucinations. SCP-4335 is also capable of telepathic speech, with people playing on its server, and as we alluded to earlier, it can also hear any noises you make while playing. Weird is a term thrown around a lot when it comes to SCP.
Who is this dude? Scarlet King, Sculpture. I must have not covered him. There's no way. Let me know what SCP this is in the comment section below if you guys know. This guy looks a little goofy.
SCPs, considering it's pretty much a requirement for the Foundation to take interest in you. But an all-devouring Minecraft demon that can hear you talking through your screen is strange, even by Foundation standards. MTF Edna 84 first discovered SCP-4335 in the single-player server of Minecraft user Leaking Heart. Three team members, Jason Yelsen, Richard Duchamp, and Shelia Freemason, covertly entered the game to investigate and potentially apprehend the creature. When Leaking Heart first discovered their presence on what he thought was a private server, he quickly left, a little creeped out by the sudden intrusion.
I'll be too.
Thankfully, the trio was still able to locate SCP-4335. They discovered the creature hiding inside a giant crater, as though it had impacted the Earth at considerable speed. Richard Duchamp, who was the leader of the team at the time, made the mistake of looking directly at the entity. In that moment, he experienced the full force of SCP-4335's cognito-hazardous effects.
Wait, is he talking about his player looking at the SCP directly, or him himself? They didn't specify that.
He hallucinated, believing that his keyboard was melting before his eyes.
Oh my god.
In the aftermath of this incident, Duchamp was taken off the case.
Jason
Yelsen was promoted to head of the project. Things were still going to get stranger. Yelsen was able to open a dialogue with the creature after containing it in a chamber filled with lava. It asked him whether it had landed in the right location, meaning our world, and Yelsen informed him that it had somehow fallen into the world of Minecraft instead. The creature was at first confused, and then angry and resentful about its situation.
Okay, so this is interesting. I wonder what he actually looks like when he's not in this Minecraft server. Because obviously speaking, like, when you create a player, it's not what you look like when you're, in reality. Human servers. So, this is probably looks like a Slenderman type of creature, maybe. but he looks like a block creature in the game. If you guys know what I'm saying, I'm curious to see what he actually looks like outside the server, but we probably won't get that because he'll probably never get out, hopefully.
It vowed to find its way into our world somehow and obtain more sustenance.
Oh,
A
God.
few months after this, the entity managed to breach containment and hop into another server.
Okay.
Yeltsin and 2 others once again managed to track it down and recontain it. But this time, 2 civilians also inhabiting the server were exposed to the anomalous effects of SCP-4335. They weren't hurt, but they did appear strange and incoherent after experiencing 4335's cognito hazards.
Oh no.
The Foundation tracked them down in the aftermath and gave them amnestic treatment. 4335 was contained shortly thereafter.
So it's easy to contain and it's easy for him to escape. Obviously, you guys should like learn from him escaping the previous containment and improve it. But maybe there's no way because it could just get out of anything like Reality Bender. But who knows?
Once again, Yeltsin came face to face with his new foe. 8 months after being captured, 4335 granted Yeltsin another interview from containment.
Ew, nice.
4335 admitted that it almost respected Yeltsin and the rest of the Foundation for figuring out how to capture and contain it so quickly. In exchange, it would give the Foundation something extremely valuable.
Ooh.
Information.
Let's go.
First, it asked one question of Yeltsin. How does he define creation? Yeltsin replied, something that is built and brought into this universe by a sapient being using other things from this universe. 4335 agreed. It went on to explain that it came from a universe devoid of creation, a dark and unknowable place,
Whoa.
filled with nothing but violent random chaos. Its dimension existed directly above ours, and it often looked down at us through a dimensional window, fascinated by all the creation below. It plotted and dreamed to one day infiltrate our reality, and Yeltsin finally had the opportunity to ask the magic question, why?
Yeah.
Though he wasn't quite ready for the brutal honesty of SCP-4335's
Is this happening to him because he looked directly or just because he asked that question? What the heck?
For the brutal honesty of SCP-4335's reply.
I do not like to lie, so I will tell you now. I wish to suck it dry of the toys of whatever force controls your universe. Destroy the light, destroy the earth, and destroy humanity. It reminded me of me, a blubbering mass of intelligence and order. It sickens me in ways I cannot comprehend.
Oh my God.
I hope you understand.
This guy's like which one is? I think it's a ZK class, end of reality. Yeah, it's an end of reality SCP. I'm pretty sure, because he could just keep on consuming, sleep, consume, and take out the whole universe. Would that be considered a universal threat or a reality threat? Or reality would be gone, actually. Right? I don't know. But he's pretty dangerous.
SCP-4335 was a connoisseur of creation, and it sought to devour all of it. In this moment, Yeltsin realized what an incredibly dangerous entity he was dealing with. The only mystery was why this creature had somehow landed in Minecraft instead of our world,
that's what I want to know.
which appeared to be the only thing that saved us. But Yeltsin didn't have time to think. 4335 was about to stage another daring escape attempt. One of its tendrils reached out and attacked Yeltsin's player character. In that moment, the real-life Yeltsin began to hallucinate and panic.
Damn.
Suddenly back in the game, a series of abnormally tall, slender black figures appeared and began deconstructing the containment chamber around SCP-4335.
Wow.
It had somehow summoned new minions into the game to assist in this containment breach.
That's the first.
Jason Yeltsin entered cognito hazard quarantine following this incident and was removed from the project.
Oh my
God. And he
God.
wasn't the only one affected by this incident.
Oh no.
Following the first appearance of these long, dark figures, players across the globe began to experience them appearing in their own games.
Yo.
The Foundation managed to find a solution. They contacted Mojang and had the creatures patched into the game during the next update.
Oh my God.
As a new non-anomalous entity, which seemed to stop 4335 from being able to use them as its own tools.
Wow.
They're now known as the Endermen. and are beloved among fans for being one of the creepier
Enderman.
enemies. To this day,
The origins of them.
containment efforts continue for SCP-4335, but there's only one question left. Why did the entity fall into Minecraft
Yes,
rather than
for
our
real.
world? The file posits the most likely answer, because 4335 defines creation as elements made by sapient beings. In Minecraft, the most popular game in the world at the height of 4335's power, everything that exists is the product of code made by humans.
Makes sense.
Creation is truly abundant there. As for our world,
Makes sense.
SCP-4335's extra-dimensional eyes, there is no creation, no intelligent design, no soothing piano soundtrack. Just frightening, chaotic randomness which is too unlike its own dimension. So even if SCP-4335 ever did arrive in our reality, it would likely be disappointed by how little there is to eat.
Wow, that is so interesting. I didn't think they were going to make that twist about why it's in the Minecraft server world until we found out the reason he is what he is and what his mission is. It does make sense that he fell into Minecraft. I thought they were going to like pull something out of their butt, but yo, that actually flows.
Now check out SCP...
And it's over. Yo, okay, that was a really good episode. Personally, I really like the concept of the SCP itself, like why it wants to do what it is doing. And, you know, I wish we could find out more about where he was actually from, because he was like in a void of nothing. And it was just, I don't know, this SCP just seems so fascinating. I'm also intrigued to see what he might possibly look like if he's ever outside of the Minecraft world server, or what he looks like before he went into the server. So, yo, this was really cool. Man, I hope you guys all like this SCP as well, and you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you guys did, remember to smash that like button, also smash the sub button, and also hit that bell so you can stay plugged with each and every upload. And unfortunately, that concludes today's episode. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one. With